Okay, everybody, welcome to DSD Thunder, the weekly event. Slight change to last week. We've got some glamour actually with us now. That's Mark, followed by Louise, and last of all, me. Got several things to talk about, some scary stuff, which Louise is going to talk about. We're going to talk about Elite. At the request of some of you, and the positives and negatives of going to Elite. And Mark's going to talk about eBay and the changes that are going to happen in June, well, starting June, and trying to allay any fears that we have there. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Louise, who's absolutely bricking it, but she'll be absolutely fine. Give her a warm welcome. And over to you, Louise.
Hello, my name's Louise. I've been with DSD about 2 months now, I think. And the reason I'm here to talk, talking today is to explain an issue I had with PayPal, well, eBay. Basically, I sold an item on the 28th of March. It was delivered I know all the times and dates, etc. It was delivered on the 30th of March, and everything was fine, and I got positive feedback from eBay. And then on the 14th of April, I checked my PayPal account, and I was minus £110 odd. And that was because the person that had bought it and given me positive feedback had basically said that someone that was unauthorised to purchase the item. So PayPal opened a case and gave them the money back, taking the funds out of my account, even though they cleared originally before I sent the item. And yeah, there was a big fight for me to try and get my money back. eBay was saying that it was down to PayPal. PayPal was saying it was down to eBay. And I also sold something else on eBay in the meantime, and that was swallowed up into my minus balance. So yeah, basically it was all a bit of a nightmare, but at the end of it, what I had to do, because of the tracking information on Amazon, because it's Amazon Logistics and I didn't add the tracking number to eBay, they were unable to trace it. On PayPal were unable to trace it because they say that they didn't have access to their website. So I then gave them the telephone number to call Amazon Logistics, and they also said that they didn't have the authorization to do that. So I took a picture from my phone of the Amazon tracking details on my computer, and then they eventually gave me my money back on, I think it was Tuesday of this week. So yeah, all back to working order, and I can start listing again, so I'm happy. But it did give me, I was thinking at the time, oh, I'm not doing this anymore because I've sold something else and it's swallowed up into my money and I'm not getting anything from it. But it's given me more of a boost now. So yeah, that's it.
Really, well done, Louise. How long did it last from the day it all went wrong to the day it was resolved?
It was the 14th, and then it was last Tuesday, so I think it was 8 days.
Right, so in the big scheme of things, that's not long, although when you're caught up in it, and I've been the same, it does seem a long time. But I think you handled it extremely well, because obviously Mark and I were in dialogue with you throughout. And you had a very, well, I can't think of the right word, a positive attitude. You weren't going to be defeated, let's put it that way.
No, absolutely not.
Right, and I think that when you're dealing with Amazon and eBay, that is the approach you need to make. I mean, I find both of them very good, but you can get somebody, especially on eBay, who is reading from a script and they won't budge. So it's important to keep ringing, keep pestering, if that's the right word, because as Roger said, you can ring somebody. You can ring somebody up. Mute your mic. You mute your mics. Yeah, we're getting. I think Roger says on one of his training videos in Pro that ring eBay a second time because you will get a different person. Ring them a third time, you get a third different person, and the chances are it will be resolved. But I thought you did extremely well, Louise. I mean, have you got any tips for others that will, in the near future or distant future, have the same problem or another issue like this?
Well, with regards to the tracking information, there's no point giving them the tracking number because they can't track it themselves. Do what I did and take a picture from your phone and download it on the attachment section of PayPal, because they literally gave. I had the turnaround of restore of 20 minutes from when I sent that picture over. So that's the best thing to do. eBay, the only thing eBay offered to do was contact the buyer. Now the buyer's no longer, because it turns out he'd done eight different counts of fraud. And I did say to eBay on the phone that they should be refunding me if PayPal wasn't, because it was actually their fault that, as a company, that I was in this predicament I was, because they'd let this person be fraudulent on 8 different occasions, and if they picked up on it earlier, I wouldn't have been in the position I was in. I think for me it was worse because, and I said this to you on the phone, Steve, when I was working full time before I had my little one, I wouldn't have really missed £110. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but I'm on statutory maternity pay that's ending next month, and hence why I'm doing this. So it was a big chunk of money, and it's something that I needed. So there was no giving up, and I just think just make sure that you do get an item that's tracked, I would say. If it's something that's costly, if it's something that's over, I don't know, £50 or something, then perhaps just make sure it's tracked, because I ordered something for myself, and when I had a look, it's not actually got the tracking information on Amazon. So I think some things do and some things don't. I'm not sure. What can you request it, Steve? Do you know?
No, you can't. I mean, I've recently ordered a bed from Amazon to go somewhere, and there is no tracking number. All that happens is the company supplying the bed notify you when it's been dispatched, but no tracking number with it. It's risky, but 99 times out of 100 there won't be an issue. But when there is, of course, then it's harder to resolve. But you're right. If given the choice, go for something that's got a tracking number. But identifying which products in Amazon will have a tracking number are difficult. So it's again, a majority of items on Amazon are tracked, but some aren't. And as I say, it's not the first time where I've ordered big items and they don't have tracking numbers. So it's I'm not sure how to resolve that. Have you got a few, Mark?
Like you say, though, finding items that are tracked is extremely difficult. If it's tracked, then yes, keep your eyes on it, track it, and as Louise says quite rightly, take pictures of the tracking information, just in case there's a comeback 14 days later when you might need it. Just be safe, cover your back at all times. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I've got an order going through at the moment, which I'm literally crossing all my fingers and all my toes, because the order came from a guy whose registered address is in Japan. However, the delivery address is in Blackburn, and it looks like it's going to some kind of warehouse and then obviously shipped out to Japan. And the reason I'm wary is that I had an issue similar to Louise's last year, where we had ordered we received an order from somebody who wanted a jacuzzi delivered to Derbyshire, and this guy kept changing his mind about what he wanted and the model number, etc., etc. And after I'd ordered it and it had been dispatched, he decided he didn't want it anymore. And it was only at that point did I realise that this guy was based in Malta. And like Louise, initially I lost £230 plus there was a jacuzzi on its way to Derbyshire that nobody wanted. To cut a long story short, I managed to get these couriers to turn around and take the jacuzzi back to the supplier, and after a lot of wrangling and arguing, got my money back, which was a blessing. And it seemed to take a long time, but a bit like Louise, it took about 8 to 10 days. Which in the big scheme of things is not a long time, but when you're caught up in the middle of it, yes, it is. But that was a worry. So at the moment, I'm sort of quietly concerned about this one that's going to Blackburn, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But it's just unusual. You get an order coming in from Japan and it being delivered to somewhere in the UK, but I'm guessing that this is a shipping company that it's been delivered to. So, anything else you want to add, Louise?
No, that's it really. What I don't want it to be a negative thing for anyone though, because like I say, it's it doesn't happen very often. It's sod's law that it did happen to me while I'm, you know, short of money and not in a different scenario. But you know, as I said at first, it did make me wonder and think, oh, you know, should I bother doing this if I lose more money? But since I've got the money back, I've actually listed loads now, so I'm off again. So yeah, I'm happy. So yeah, on a positive note, you will get your money back. Just if it's a tracked item, take a picture of the whole screen and send it to PayPal rather than going through all the rigmarole that I did. And 8 days later, I actually get a result. So that's just the best way to deal with PayPal at the moment, I believe.
Brilliant, Louise. Glad it was all sorted out in the end.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do now is talk about Elite at the request of a couple of people. And what people want to know is, what is Elite? What should you consider before joining Elite, and any disadvantages to joining Elite? So what I thought I'd do is explain what Elite is first. And Elite is the next level up from Pro. With Pro, you're taught the basics of how to do drop shipping. I'm using my hands here, but the camera can't see it. You're taught the basics of drop shipping, and your profits are between £3 and £10 per item on average. With Elite, obviously your supplier is Amazon, but on Elite, your suppliers are probably 25, 30 plus, and you will find your own suppliers. Your profit margin goes from about £30 plus. And I've had profits of £400, £500 on big items. And you no longer undercut people either. You now rely on your sales through great titles, good pictures, all sorts of things. So you don't have to waste time spidering people anymore and undercutting them by £1 and all that. And there's no doubt that Elite is a game changer when it comes to your income. When I started DSD last February, my first month's income profit-wise was just short of 100 quid. And then the second month in March was about 190 quid. Then went to Elite, and the end of April was nearly, was just over £400. So it virtually it doubled, and it's gone up ever since. What I do say to people, and I know Mark says the same thing, is that only go to Elite when you think you're ready. Don't listen to any pushy sponsors like Mark and me, but go when you're ready. If you feel the time is right to step up your income, and you can afford to do so, which is the big thing, if you can afford to do so, then do it. With Elite, you can cancel. So if it's not for you, or if the £60 a month is a bit of a strain, then cancel. I spoke to somebody who was considering Elite, and a few days ago, and she was saying that she will struggle to find the first £60. Now, I basically said that that's a decision she needs to make, but that first £60 will be the best investment you'll ever make. But if it leaves you short of cash, don't do it yet. Carry on with Pro until such time as handing over 60 quid for Elite doesn't make a big hole in your pocket. After you've done the first month, you won't be worrying about the £60, because your profits coming in from Elite, if you're doing it properly, will far outweigh the actual subscription. So it's a great package to be on. Even though I'm on Monopoly, 90% of my sales at the moment are Elite based. and I have all the suppliers that DSD provide, plus I've found a few of my own, plus other people have shared their suppliers with me, and I do the same with my downline as well. And you will find your own, because when you search for an item, because the item where you were going to get it from is out of stock, you search for it and you find some obscure company that you've never heard of before is suddenly supplying this item. You check them out, you realize they can drop ship, and you then add them to your list. And it is, like I said at the beginning, it is a game changer, but only do it when you're ready, because if you go in too early and you're struggling financially, then it will put you off completely. But if you go in because you feel it's the next step and financially you can afford it, then trust me, you will not look back. And if anything, like I did, I sort of questioned why I didn't do it earlier. But the reason I didn't do it earlier, because I wasn't ready. But it is worthwhile, and that is what starts to bring in the equivalent of a full-time income. I've been doing Elite now for a year, and I'm now just on sales. Yes, I am an affiliate, but just on sales, I'm on a full-time income. So it is pretty good, but I would stress, don't jump into Elite unless you feel it's right. And I'm sure, Mark, have you got something to add with this?
Oh, yeah, I'll reiterate what Steve says. Don't ever risk your bill money to step up. Make sure you're earning that money out of Pro first, and you can pay for Elite out of your Pro profits. And then, as Steve says again, when you make that step up, your further 60, but I think it's 65 now actually with the current exchange rates ish. It will be nothing. You'll make that money back, no problem at all. Elite is a great package. I stepped up to Elite probably too soon actually, before I was ready. I think I'd only been on Pro for 3 weeks when I stepped up to Elite. Looking back, it was too soon. I didn't work it properly, didn't get my money's worth out of it at first, but now, yes. Because of that experience, yes, I can advise people not to jump too soon, and help people decide when they are ready to jump through my own experiences. But yeah, a great package, Elite. I still work Pro, yes. I think Steve probably does as well. But yeah, most of my sales are coming through Elite, and it's great. Yeah, back to you, Steve.
Okay, so that's Elite. If you want any more information on a one-to-one basis, then contact your sponsor. I'm also happy to talk to you, but if you're not my downline, then out of courtesy, you need to talk to your sponsor first. Your sponsor will give you all the information that you need, any reassurances that you want, whatever. And remember, a bit like Pro, you can come out of it at any time, although I don't know of anybody, oh yes I do, one person, that has actually joined Elite and then left, but still stay part of DSD. Because once you've joined, you want to stick with it. So it's, but I say, it's a personal decision. It's not something that me, Mark, or any other sponsor can push at you. But I've been asked to sort of give you the pros and cons. There's lots of pros. The only con is if you go in too early. The only disadvantage, is that you go in too early and financially you're not ready. So next on the list to talk about is Mark talking about eBay. Over the last few days, there's been some discussion about the changes that eBay are implementing in the middle of the year. Mark and I have done some research. I'm not going to steal Mark's thunder, but we thought it would be useful to share what we found out at an early stage to allay any fears. So over to you, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Hi there. Thanks, Steve. I gather some of you have had emails, some haven't, about the changes to eBay. I certainly had an email. Steve didn't, so emails are coming out at different times. About having to list product information when you're listing. As from early June, hang on, has my camera gone? No. As from early June, you're going to have to put EIN and ISBN numbers into your listings, product identifiers. Now, some people are panicking, thinking, yeah, this isn't going to be good. I've spoken to DS Domination in America. They said it's all in hand. They have been notified previously to us. It's USA were notified a couple of months ago about this. They said it's no problem. Roger is working on new training. It's not going to affect our sales. In fact, they think it'll probably help buyers to find us. So there's certainly nothing to worry about on that score. So as from early June, you've got to start putting your numbers, product identifier numbers, on branded and manufacturer refurbished items. Well, we don't really deal with manufacturer refurbished, so that's not a problem. As coming towards the end of June, you're going to have to start putting those numbers on your relisting or revising of items as well as your new ones. And then as from the beginning of September, they're going to be included in your listings with variations. We've spoken to a prominent figure in America as well, who has reiterated, do not panic. This isn't going to really affect us. It will help us. So certainly nothing to worry about on that score. We can't give you too much information about it because we don't really know a lot at the moment. It's only, it's only the bits we're managing to find out. But yeah, the word certainly the word from America is do not panic. This is going to be good for us. So no problem there. Some people may remember a panic that came out about returns when eBay were doing their returns, and a lot of people panicked, but it turned out to be no problem whatsoever. So don't panic. It's not going to be a problem. As we get more information, we'll keep you updated, but don't panic. Another small change that that has been picked up was on eBay's returns, that you're no longer able to select an option for a damaged item anymore. They just give you two options now for a return, saying out of stock or other reason, or customer requested cancellation. We advise not to choose the out of stock, even though it says out of stock or other reason. It doesn't later on in that process give you a chance to explain what the other reason is. So you still could be marked as out of stock, which isn't good. We don't recommend that. So the recommendation is to message your customer if your item is out of stock. Message your customer. There is a standard message that Steve's put into the files section on Thunder, or you can make your own. It doesn't matter. Just to say that you've noticed the item is damaged. You don't wish to send it out to the customer because it's not up to standard. And do you wish to cancel? And once you've got that from the customer saying yes, they're happy to cancel, then you can click the option for customer agrees cancellation of the item, and that'll keep you safe. That'll keep your ratings safe. Yeah, get on to Steve or I if you've got any problems with that, and we'll advise you, talk you through it, whatever. But that's about all we've got on that for now. Anything you want to add, Steve?
No, not really. I mean, the only thing I will say is that America had these letters back in April, so they've had time they've probably gone through the panic and worry.
Dave, that was March. They had the letters.
Yeah, so they've had it quite a while, a bit longer than us, and they've had a chance to look at it, where we're only just now having a chance to look at it. And the word from America is that if anything, this is going to help us to increase sales, not actually hinder us, which can only be a good thing. So, and on the other issue of items out of stock, I agree with Mark. Avoid that at all costs. There is a disclaimer in the files section, as Mark has said, that basically puts the onus onto the customer to cancel, and that's what you've got to try and do. Be imaginative, basically, in getting the customer to say, okay, I'll cancel, in which case it's them that have cancelled it, not you, and you won't get a black mark against your account. So yeah, so that's really it. I mean, I know when Mark brought it to my attention beginning of the week, my first thoughts were but then when you read the small print and you look at what the information that Amazon provide anyway, it's all there for what eBay wants. So it isn't a great issue. And if it's designed so that customers can go straight to your product, and if that's the case, and they can get to your product quicker, and you get more sales, then like I said before, it can only be a good thing. So trust us, guys. This is nothing to worry about. As we get word from America with training or whatever, we will let you know. And as Mark has said, it looks like Roger's going to put a training package together, and we'll make sure that you're aware as soon as we are when that's available and where it is. But I'd imagine it will be in the Pro section. So as far as I'm concerned, that's it. It's a nice sunny day, although it's bloody cold. I've actually put the central heating back on. I can't believe it. It's the end of April. So as far as I'm concerned, that's it. Thank you to Louise, who's buggered off. But she did warn us that she'd like to get on first in case the baby woke up. So after listening to Mark's and my Dorset tones, I'm sure the baby did wake up, probably screaming. So as far as I'm concerned, thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week. Like we said before, if there's anything that you want us to cover, then please let us know. Mark, is there anything you want to add?
The only thing I want to say is that I don't think this week there can be any question whatsoever out of which one of us is the better looking. Obviously Louise takes that title. Back to you, Steve.
Well, Louise has just messaged me and said she's listening, so I'm in trouble now anyway. So I might as well go the whole hog and say that there is no way that Louise is better looking. I certainly would claim that title myself. So from the three of us, have a good weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.